O'Neill commends Australia for support in APEC security operations. Highway truck drivers speak of dreadful experiences while on duty. And new security chief appointed for UPNG.
This is National EMTV News with Helen Sayer.
Good evening and thank you for joining me for Wednesday's news. Prime Minister Peter O'Neill says logistics and policy development plans for security operations for APEC summit are progressing on target. The Prime Minister said APEC security requires a comprehensive package of elements covering land, sea and air. Thus, he is grateful for the Australian government's support in planning APEC security.
The Prime Minister gave this update yesterday when he was speaking to the Australian Commissioner to PNG, Bruce Davis. O'Neill said a high level of focus will be on security efforts because heads of some of the largest companies in the world, including presidents and prime ministers of powerful economies, will be attending the summit. He also said plans have advanced well so far for the right level of accommodation and is confident the meeting venues will be ready come 2018. So far, a joint task force has been established to commence security planning for the APEC summit. This task force involves members of the Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary, PNG Defence Force and Correctional Services. However, there are other law enforcing agencies who are working together with the three disciplinary forces to ensure that Papua New Guinea hosts a safe and secure APEC. Tekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
The APEC Authority will work with member countries to secure hotel accommodation for participants in the 2018 APEC meet. Chief Executive Officer for APEC 2018, Christopher Hawkins, says accommodation will be arranged in accordance with security requirements.
Presentation was held this morning at the Morata House for a brief on APEC accommodation. Speaking during the brief, APEC CEO Christopher Hawkins says the APEC Authority will be in charge of all hotel bookings with strict security compliance. Hawkins says the three cruise ships will host most of the participants. He says the authority believes PNG will have sufficient accommodation for all participating nations.
They are floating hotels and that will make up the gap that we will have in terms of how many hotel rooms are required.
Block bookings will be done to house the 20 APEC leaders and other Pacific nation leaders. The authority is now in phase 2 of the strategic approach program in hosting APEC 2018. Phase 2 is capacity strengthening.
We're actually ahead of several economies at this point in time in preparation for the APEC meet. And for us that's important. We also have to manage perceptions around the region. We want people to know that we are on track, that we are ready.
With security a top priority concern, the APEC Authority says all accommodation is along the primary road, facilitating ease of timing and movement of leaders. Jack Lopave Jr., National EMTV News.
Highway truck drivers tasked with taking cargo into the highlands have spoken out about the experience, saying the personal risks of the job have risen significantly over the last 20 years. During every trip, drivers are faced with the possibility of armed holdups, roadblocks and compensation demands even when they stop to change a flat tire. Bad road conditions have also increased the risks of attacks when a truck is involved in an accident.
Last week, Philip Amo was carrying several tons of beverages to the highlands when the truck he was driving capsized along the winding section of the Kasam Pass in the Eastern Highlands. The damaged road sections caused the vehicle to tip sideways with its load. Philip is one of many drivers who suffer as a result of the deteriorating road sections of the Highlands Highway. They have to put up with the risk of driving and the possibility of armed robberies if they stop at a damaged road section.
Sadlong lei ko andablong again pogara I was natari kutubu and me facing big problem lo because all potholes na. Mino clear gamani looks all roto no gata so mibla especially highway drivers and mibla providing big plus service blong islands even pounding it too.
The lack of maintenance along various sections of the Highlands Highway has triggered more serious damage. Last year, traffic was disrupted in the Eastern Highlands after several road sections collapsed. Along the Kasam Pass, which is a crucial link to the Highlands, this section continues to collapse. These pictures were taken last year, but satellite images also show the erosion at the base of the road. The big players in the trucking industry like Mapai and Trisa employ dozens of drivers to take cargo to the Highlands. Their biggest cost is the maintenance of the vehicles. But when a vehicle is involved in an accident, their costs double or triple. When recovery happens, compensation demands are placed by locals, and when clients demand a refund. Lay businessman Fred Wack is the owner of the vehicle which Philip Amu drove. His initial losses amount to close to $1 million.
At the moment, we see no light at the end of this nightmare and this dark tunnel. Unless the government seriously does something to address this problem, we see darker days ahead.
The poor road conditions not only affect businesses, long delays also threaten Papua New Guinea's food security. Scott Waide, National EMTV News, Lae.
Opposition leader Don Pollier says the Electoral Commission is behind schedule to run the 2017 national elections. Pollier said the Electoral Commissioner must ensure the choice of electing a leader is done democratically. He expressed few of his concerns today in a news conference in Port Moresby.
The leader of the opposition spoke to the media today, spelling out his critique on how the Electoral Commission is preparing for the 2017 national elections. His first concern, the current common role update in the country.
By law, the common role must be ready in its finalized form a minimum of 3 months before the actual polling takes place.
However, in a recent awareness by Electoral Commissioner Patalius Gamato, Mr. Gamato says most provinces have completed their electoral update, while others have progressed in finalizing their data collection.
We still have time, and the progress so far is good, and I'm pleased, happy with the progress by provinces. In fact, some big provinces are progressing very well. For example, Morobe.
The leader of the opposition says the Electoral Commission must be given financial support to carry out its responsibilities. Pollier said the ruling government must step in and assist.
My observation is that there's lack of support by the national government in terms of financing and resourcing the Electoral Commission and its commissioner to carrying out this common role update exercise. There's no budget, money that has been given to the Electoral Commission and the Commissioner, Mr. Gamato, to conduct this very important democratic job.
Another matter raised by the Kandap MP is the printing of ballot papers. Pollier says there are rumors of ballot papers being printed outside the country.
Why is the printing of ballot papers taking place in a foreign land? The ballot papers are the most important legal documents. They're the most important legal document that reflect the mandate of an elector.
The Electoral Commission Office and the Government Printing Office could not be reached for comments. Jack Lapave Jr., National EMTV News.
The New Guinea Island Regional Police Command has indicated that they will need additional resources to run the 2017 national election security operations in the region. The Regional Command hierarchies say they will seek help from the provincial government. Meanwhile, despite public speculations of police duties being diverted to the elections, the heads of police in the region say normal police duties will continue during the elections.
National elections are considered as turbulent times in many parts of the country. In the New Guinea Islands region, although the elections were relatively calm and orderly, the regional police commanders have maintained that their men will still be put to work. In East New Britain province, despite public speculations of police duties being diverted to the elections, the heads of the police in the region says normal police duties will continue during the elections.
Working on our operational plan.
In this interview with EMTV last week, the East New Britain Provincial Police Commander, Senior Inspector Joseph Tabali, has brushed aside these early speculations.
We are working on our operational plan, okay? And I can assure the people of East New Britain that the normal police duties, the members will perform the normal police duties, apart from those who are involved in national election.
East New Britain Province has a total police strength of about 254 personnel, while a half of the total is expected to respond to the election security call-out both within the province and the NGI region. The PPC says additional manpower will be engaged. Most of them will be reservists and correctional service officers who will assist in both the election security operations and normal police duties for the region.
I need more 147 extra manpower. That means I have to have CIS personnel involved, as well as the reserves that upon the Commissioner's directive, we stood them down. I will get them on board to assist, to boost the manpower in East New Britain.
Unlike previous national elections, the 2017 elections will be a little bit different in terms of security. The police commissioner has ordered that each regional command will be responsible to maintain order during the elections using their own available resources, and most of them still don't have everything they need.
We have already, I've already called the PPCs, PPC New Island, Manus, East West New Britain, we have conducted one day workshop to discuss about how we are going to conduct an election.
Edwin Fidelis, National EMTV News, Kokopo.
Over 200 police recruits will pass out of the Bomana Police Training College this Friday. This comes after the recruits have completed 6 months of basic training on how to serve as police officers. A pass-out parade will be staged at the college to mark the start of their career. They will be deployed to the 22 provinces to complete 2 years of probation before they will be confirmed as police officers. This is the second batch of the 2016 intake. Meanwhile, the recruit for 2017 remains suspended until further notice from the management of the Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary. Media Council of Papua New Guinea President Alexander Rini is calling on PNG journalists to report credible news to their viewers and readers. Speaking to EMTV News, he said that fake news, which commonly begins from social media, is a threat to mainstream media, and journalists need to be careful when it comes to reporting.
With elections around the corner and the mainstream media gearing up for the elections, MCPNG President Alexander Rini has asked journalists to go back to basic journalism and keep reports balanced and credible.
One a fair comment. You need to give everyone, all the parties that are named in a story, they need to be given an opportunity to have their say in the story. We need to move away from running one-sided biased stories because it doesn't help anyone. And then at the end of the day, you are not giving a complete product to Papua New Guineans. So we need to give balanced stories. So we need to give factual and...
He said with fake news always a possibility, journalists must always check that the sources are reliable, so they hold the trust of viewers and readers.
Your news can only be as factual and as true as the source that you quote from, If your source is telling you lies, then it's highly likely that, whatever you're putting out there is fake news. So journalists, it's their responsibility to actually look at their source, go through the source of their stories, do their proper research, do background checks on their sources, You need to go through that process before you can get the product out. If you don't, then you are letting your readers and your audience down.
While social media has become the new news hub for the latest news in the technology generation, Rini hopes the general public can differentiate between real news and fake news. Adelaide Xerox Kari, National EMTV News.
National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. The University of Papua New Guinea today held a ceremony for the new Chief of Security, Matthew Kipot. The new Chief of Security is expected to improve security for the institution in order to handle drastic situations. This comes following the student boycott last year, in which the university's property were vandalized and a building burnt down.
The inaugural ceremony began with the new Chief of Security, Matthew Kipot, reading the new Code of Conduct. Kipot's experience ranges from 30 years in the Papua New Guinea Defence Force, specialised security training in Australia, America and England, to being the security coordinator for the 15th Pacific Games for the Games Village. New Security Chief Kipot hopes to equip the uniforce to deal with such drastic situations like the UPNG unrest.
Quality of man this time, we expect to do what we are bound to do according to the university standards. We have to defend, to protect the university assets, the staff, the students, the university community and the visitors who frequent this university campus.
With the student boycott and unrest at UPNG last year, security has become a main concern for the university this year. Last year, the university security system received help from police when a situation at the university got out of hand. UPNG Vice-Chancellor Professor Albert Mellam has said the new Chief of Security is capable of taking care of the university when it comes to security.
Structure to manage the security of the campus, that is securing the lives of staff and students on campus, and of course keeping an eye on university properties.
Adelaide's Xerox Kari National, EMTV News.
UPNG Vice-Chancellor Professor Albert Mellam has said resumption of Semester 2 for 2016 has been going well. He said while the new revised 2016 calendar was extraordinary, university students are resuming classes after a 3-week Christmas break and they are on track with the new calendar.
Academic year, because then we face a lot of challenges. For example, a good example is it's not possible to train a medical students in 3 weeks. So we've kept the entire length of the semester. It's extraordinary different, but that's the best option we have. And if everything goes well, we will finish the 2016 semester on schedule, commence the 2017 academic year and finish on time in November.
The University of Papua New Guinea and James Cook University presented a mid-term review report of their 3-year academic twinning project. The report was presented this morning to the Australian High Commission and the UPNG Steering Committee at the UPNG Waigani campus. This collaboration is a series of learning and research activities carried out focusing on enhancing teaching quality and research capacity. James Cook University instructors are in the country to continue the twinning activities with the university's staff. About 5,000 Morobe tertiary students in the country may miss enrollment this year following budget cuts by the provincial government. Morobe Tertiary Students Union President Hans Guaiko said this year the provincial government cut its budget from 5 million kina to 4 million kina. Today, the students met with representatives from the Morobe Administration Office to express their disappointment.
The Morobe students from the tertiary institutions in the country gathered at the Morobe provincial government to express their frustration. The students told representatives from the provincial administration they will be presenting a 2-point petition to the authorities on Friday to reconsider the budget cut.
Suppose Morobe provincial government am going them 4 million na am implementing this policy by big number of Morobe sumatin now bol nona patani school in country now tertiary institutions.
The students want the 1 million kina cut from the initial 5 million kina to be added back, and the provincial government to review its decision so that all Morobe students must benefit from the provincial grant. The students argued that there was no awareness or consultation done prior to the budget cut.
We want the Morobe provincial administration to strategize and utilize the 5 million so that everyone benefits.
Morobe Tertiary Students Union President Hans Guaico says Morobe's human resource may drop if the provincial government does not reconsider its decision. He is appealing to Morobe's political leaders to look into their grievances and help them. Acting Deputy Provincial Administrator Social Services, Robin Basinus, was present to respond to the students' frustration.
Emi, go back your budget, you mean? Okay, but you plan look at affecting. Okay, 5 million kina emi passing across Taborem, emi staff. But inside the time, people managing cash. People look at 5 million. Demand lo beginning of lo Morobe province. Emi come, emi winning this la 5 million kina emi go out of proportion. Osem this la emi make him now. Osem you say go osem last year emi go close to 10 million. The people must fork him out of projects.
Mataluwis National EMTV News, Lay.
A decision from the Morobe Provincial Education Board is still pending on the amount of school fees imposed this year. The Provincial Program Advisor is yet to get approval from the National Education Board. The decision was made due to the delay in the payment of the tuition fee-free funds. Julie Badu Owa with this report.
The Provincial Program Advisor for Morobe says all schools in Morobe should not charge project fees to students until a decision is made by the Provincial Education Board. The Program Advisor is yet to meet with the National Education Board for approval before a decision can be made. The Provincial Education Board had to review its decision after a meeting with the Program Advisor a week ago. Due to the delay in the payment of the TFF funds, PEB had met and decided that fees will be charged by the board to parents for all schools in Morobe this year. The program advisor is calling on all schools in Morobe, starting from elementary, not to charge any project fees unless a final decision is made by PEB. Many schools did not receive their 30% funding for infrastructure on time last year. The Provincial Education Board said the school fees paid by parents will help some schools with maintenance this year. Julie Badui Owa, National EMTV News, Lay.
And now looking at our finance news, the kina closed unchanged at $0.3150 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your kina was buying $0.3075, $0.4042 Australian dollars, $0.2847 euro and 34.4 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold closed the day lower, while coffee, cocoa and copra closed the day higher. Palm oil closed unchanged, crude oil closed higher, while copper closed the day lower. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 58.96 points lower, the ASX closed at 20.67 points lower, and the All Ordinaries closed at 20.94 points lower. Among stories after the break, scientists at a research station in the North Pole recalled after a crack in the ice sheet. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. All government schools, starting from elementary to technical and vocational colleges, will begin their academic year on the 30th of January this year. The teachers from all government schools should resume duties on the 23rd of this month. Julie Badui Owa with this report.
The students of Lake District are now getting ready to begin the 2017 academic year after visiting the Morobe Education Division office to see whether they will continue to secondary schools. The Lake District Education Manager Kaumu Laga said all teachers should resume duties on the 23rd of this month.
We are still waiting for the RODSS from the salary section. Then we will disperse the RODSS to all the schools by tomorrow or Monday morning. So teachers will resume on 23rd, for Lake District as well as other districts in Morobe Province.
All students attending elementary to secondary schools should begin classes on the 30th of this month. The grade 8 students in Lay who have sat for their exams last year will be collecting their certificates along with their acceptance letter from the head teachers within this week.
So the parents are asked to go to the various primary school to pick up their children's certificate, as well as to find out whether their children can continue or not. And also they will receive the acceptance letter.
The grade 10 students last year who are accepted to continue to secondary will also receive their certificates and acceptance letter from their principals at their respective schools.
On behalf of people parents in Lake District as well as other district, I want to apologize for the delay, but hopefully that we will try and improve next year.
Julie Badui Owa, National EMTV News, Leh.
Mosby South MP Justin Tichenko has confirmed that 2017 funds for churches in his electorate are ready to be delivered. Speaking at Evagima United Church in Joyce Bay, he said the government will continue to assist churches under the State Church Partnership Program for the delivery of services.
Several churches in Port Moresby South will be receiving funds from the government through Minister for Sports and National Events Justin Tichenko, an agreement between the government and churches to help run the ongoing support towards the running of the churches. Funds that will be allocated to churches will be used to carry on with church development programs, women's fellowship and youth ministries within churches, as well as developments of infrastructure. Tichenko reassured all communities and church members that he will continue to support church activities in one way or another and wants the best for his electorate of Port Moresby South.
Every year, Moresby South through our DSIP allocate 1 million kina to the church's programs, projects and infrastructure throughout Moresby South. All the different denominations of all the different churches put in applications, put in proposals, put in requests to my office.
Tichenko said helping people not just through infrastructure development, but also spiritually and many other ways, no matter the denomination, is also a way forward to keeping the communities in tune. He says communities will continue to receive necessary infrastructure developments, but encourages that all youths and communities should work with churches to enhance better life and living situations of people.
Good process, and as you see, the churches really benefit from this. This is not just a church for the worship of God. This is also used for community activities, women's associations, all different events as well. So the church can also benefit from that as well.
While Tichenko continues his services to help support his electorate of Moresby South, the recent water crisis in the area that left communities without any water supply due to faults in the pipes was described by Tichenko as pipe sabotage.
We can advise, we can assist, but it's Edirano's responsibility to fix these issues, and that's what's come up. I appreciate the disgruntled issues when it comes to water in this area. Everybody deserves water. Everybody has a right to have water.
Godwin Eki, National EMTV News.
Car washing is fast becoming a source of income for many unemployed youths in the nation's capital. EMTV News met Joshua Pukari and Joshua Remy during one of our news runs last week. Both men are in their early 20s and have been washing cars to earn a living. This is their story.
Joshua Pukari and Joshua Remy are both from Central Province and have spent most of their lives in the Moresby South electorate. Growing up, both aspired to be independent individuals who would support their families in bringing food to the table. But due to limited spaces in the education system, the two men have resorted to washing cars for a living. Similar to a working-class person, the duo starts washing cars at 8 o'clock every morning and finish off at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. They have been doing this for 6 years now.
My name is Joshua Pukari.
Plus awasim car emosem kaino lilikol sla kaino car number o lilikol taxi o Camry plus chargimol lo 10 kina lo outside sol or private plate number na inside one time ol normally car number plus chargimol 15 kina 20 kina so taxi number emosem plus chargimol 10 kina 5 kina number outside or private or 10 sita or 5 door sla kain pamla charge 20 kina 15 kina number outside.
The idea of washing vehicles for an income was at one point a fundraising activity which students from the University of Papua New Guinea got into to fundraise money for their provincial groups. However, starting in 2010, a number of residents in Port Moresby started washing cars for an income. Since then, it has become a stable income source for many people living along the Badili to Sabama area in the Moresby South, 6 Mile in the Moresby Northeast, and Waigani in the Moresby Northwest electorates. For the Joshuas, they make up to 150 kina per day, depending on the number of vehicles they wash. But they are not the only ones to provide car wash services.
Planti kawas emol stable popular kawas so mi pate mosem mi plaza wasim good so planti or car lo Moresby city also come down lo kaugere kawas.
There are a number of car wash stations at Badili, and the two always compete with others to wash vehicles for an income. Tekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
Turning overseas, the British Antarctic Society is recalling scientists from its Heli-6 polar research base in March after a crack developed in the ice sheet. The decision was taken after a huge crack appeared in the Brunt ice shelf just 10 miles away from the Heli-6 research station. Recently released dramatic footage taken from a drone shows the length and depth of the cleavage. Heli-6 is the research center from which the ozone hole was discovered.
There are currently 88 scientists stationed at the Heli-6 Research Center, which monitors climate data and played a key role in discovering the ozone hole in 1986. The station is currently undergoing a process of relocation after a fissure, once thought to be dormant, began encroaching on the base in 2012, advancing a mile every year. But the new site is faced with another huge chasm, which developed last October. Scientists from the center have been monitoring the chasm's development, but cannot be sure whether a large iceberg will calve, splitting away from the main ice shelf. According to the BAS, the risk of this happening is low, and the decision to pull scientists from the research station was made as a precautionary measure. If the ice fractured during the summer months, an evacuation could be swiftly mounted. However, the forthcoming Antarctic winter complicates things, bringing 24-hour darkness and frozen seas, making evacuation an extremely complex process. Scientists will return to their duties at the research center once winter has passed. Lorraine Gabina, EMTV World News.
Coming up after the break, Milne Bay kickboxers appeal for funds to return home and Barras to play a curtain raiser in Australia. That's next in Trukai Sports.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. 4 members of the Alotau Kickboxing Club have appealed to Milne Bay authorities to help them return home. The 4 attended a recent kickboxing tournament at Bomana outside Port Moresby. Team manager Florence Tiamani says their return is crucial for Team Milne Bay's preparation for the 7th PNG Games in Kimbe in March.
In an interview with EMTV yesterday, team manager Florence Tiamani says the recent fight at Bomana has given confidence and build-up for the Milne Bay fighters. She says attending the tournament was crucial for kickboxing in Milne Bay.
The main purpose was to bring up our Yan rep, one of our Yan representatives from our province, to take part for experience case. We're grateful and thankful that we did very well. We achieved a good result, a positive one. which has highlighted and showed us that we are looking forward for the 7 PNG games in Kimbe.
Settling for silver and bronze, Million Bay fighter Aaron Tiwalibo has raised the Million Bay flag among other centers despite a first-timer in the ring. But now the four need to return and join other Million Bay fighters in preparation for the 7th PNG Games.
The result that I've got was through hard work, hard training, and we achieved it. For the first time, we got a silver medal and a bronze medal, and now we're looking for getting a gold medal. So,
Official Willie Alphonse says the build-up is positive and proper support must be given.
Has gave us the investment for this coming PNG Games, especially for the first-timers, the kickboxing team from Alotau.
Team Million Bay will be sending 4 fighters to the 7th PNG Games in Kimbe, 2 males and 2 females.
Came and I achieved the bronze and silver. So I'm really happy and I'm training really hard.
The 4 are now calling on Million Bay authorities to maintain an open dialogue for the return for the good of kickboxing in the province.
to get across there, get the team ready, and it's in January now. We only have a month away to get ourselves prepared as a team, and then we leave in March for the PNG Games. But to sum it all up, we have a strong team. With a positive mind and a heart, we're looking forward for the 7 PNG Games in Kimbe to compete with the other provinces.
Jack Lapave Jr., National EMTV Sports.
After starting the year with successful practice matches against Australian state teams, the Hebo PNG Barrandis now have another opportunity to better their skills internationally. The Barras will be playing a curtain raiser against an Australian side for the Australian PM's 9 match on the 15th of February in Canberra. This was announced by Australia's Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull, who said the doubleheader with PNG's national men's team adds an exciting new dimension to the traditional fixture. A delighted Cricket PNG CEO, Greg Campbell, said Legasiaka was previously selected to take part in the PM's 9, but to have the whole team participate in this year's PM's 9 is a step forward for Cricket PNG. The doubleheader is a show of support from Cricket Australia to emerging nations and further strengthens relationships between Australia and PNG. In the build-up towards the PM's 9, the Hebo PNG Barrandis will face New South Wales 9 in 2 50-over and 1 T20 match in Sydney. The OFC Stage 3 2018 FIFA World Cup Russia qualifiers will be back in March. Papua New Guinea and Fiji, who set out last year in November as Tahiti, Solomon Islands, New Caledonia and New Zealand kicked off their campaigns and are now eager to make their own mark in Stage 3.
This afternoon.
The OFC Nations Cup was hosted in the country in May through to June 2016 and featured 8 OFC member associations. The final was between New Zealand and Papua New Guinea, which came down to a penalty shootout where the All Whites won to claim their 5th regional title and the opportunity to represent Oceania at the 2017 FIFA Confederations Cup.
Marco Rojas confirms their place in Russia next year.
The top 6 nations at the OFC Nations Cup progressed to Stage 3, where they are now drawn into 2 groups of 3 to play home and away matches for a chance to play in the final. The top 2 sides in each group will play home and away to earn the right to progress to the Intercontinental Playoff, which will be against the 5th-ranked side from CONMEBOL.
Oh, fine goal.
PNG will take on Tahiti at the Sejongkai Stadium on the 23rd of March in the first of the match day 3 action. The return leg will take place in Tahiti on 28 March. Meanwhile, Fiji will play their first match against New Zealand in the newly developed Churchill Park in Lautoka on 25th March. New Zealand will host the return leg at Wellington's Westpac Stadium on 28 March. Elijah Levet, National EMTV Sports.
OFC Championship League title holders Auckland City have been invited to take part in the Nike Lunar New Year Cup tournament in Hong Kong starting on the 28th of this month. Auckland City FC is one of the 4 clubs playing in the tournament alongside hosts FC Seoul from Republic of Korea and Muangthong United FC from Thailand. The 4 teams will play in a single knockout match on 28 January, with the winner of each match progressing to the final on 31st January, while the other 2 teams will meet in a third playoff. The Lunar New Year Cup is an annual football tournament organized in Hong Kong by the Hong Kong Football Association. True Guy Sports continues after the break. Don't go away.
True Guy Sports.
Welcome back to True Guy Sports. With the increasing number of international competitions hosted in the country, Sports Minister Justin Tichenko is calling on the Tourism Promotion Authority to work closely with PNG Sports Foundation. He said sports tourism is the way to bring in more international visitors and to promote the country.
For the goalkeeper, she might!
While Papua New Guinea continues to attract more international sporting events to be hosted in the country, Sports Minister Justin Tichenko says sports tourism is the way forward for Papua New Guinea to promote itself by using sporting events to attract international visitors. He is calling on the Tourism Promotion Authority to work closely with PNG Sports Foundation in promoting the country by organizing traditional or cultural events in line with the events, which includes opening ceremony, closing ceremony and other events.
Sports tourism is a fantastic way of promoting the country. It's a great way of promoting the country. Tying up sporting events with tourism opportunities. And that's very, very important.
While the country prepares to host the Rugby League World Cup by sharing pool matches with Australia and New Zealand, Tichenko also highlighted some of the other international sporting events that are confirmed to be hosted in Papua New Guinea. He said this will be an opportunity for TPA PNG to work hand in hand with Papua New Guinea Sports Foundation to plan ahead.
So we have the Rugby League World Cup coming forward, which is also a tourism opportunity for the Tourism Promotion Authority to ride on the back of. We have the Oceania Swimming Championships, where all the Oceania countries like Australia and New Zealand will be here at the Tarama Aquatic Centre to compete in the Oceania competitions, while just before, hopefully, the Commonwealth Games in the Gold Coast in 2018.
While the focus is on PNG Games, Surfing Association of Papua New Guinea is also preparing to host their first inaugural surfing titles for the World Surf League in longboarding. That minister also acknowledged the work of SAPNG President Andrew Abel and his team in making the event possible to be staged in PNG.
We have the World Surfing titles and tournament as well in the beginning of this year, which is a fantastic success for surfing to get the world titles coming to Papua New Guinea, and a great effort by Mr. Andrew Abel.
Godwin Aki, National EMTV Sports.
South Australian Josh Cartwright was stood down after his horse senior counsel intentionally collided with other horses during a race. Cartwright pleaded guilty to reckless riding after the race. Well-known trainer Michael Hickmott publicly defended the young rider and told Racing.com he believed Cartwright may have had a brain fade because of stress and exhaustion. The race was won by the Michael Vassallo-trained Murty, which was ridden by apprentice Anna Yorsho. The stewards adjourned Cartwright's case. And that ends True Guy Sports. The weather details when we come back.
True Guy Sports. True Guy Sports.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
Looking at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow, in the southern region, mostly fine, then chances of light rain showers developing by afternoon in Port Moresby. Partly cloudy with chances of light rain in Daru, mostly fine in Kirima and Alotau, and mostly fine, then chances of afternoon shower or two developing in Popondetta. In the Mumasi region, mostly fine with chances of afternoon shower or two in Leh, morning rain showers, then partly cloudy in Medang, cloudy periods with chances of light rain showers in Wewak and Vanimo. In the New Guinea Islands region, mostly fine in Lorengau, Kavieng, Kokopo, Rabaul and Kimbe, partly cloudy with chances of rain showers developing in Buka. And in the Highlands region, mostly fog clearing, then fine although cloudy at times in all centers.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
Now recapping our main stories for tonight. O'Neill commends Australia for support in APEC security operations. Highway truck drivers speak of dreadful experiences while on duty, and new security chief appointed for UPNG. And that's been the news, sports and weather for tonight. On behalf of the entire EMTV News team, I'm Helen Seah. Pleasant viewing. Good night.